لفلسطين ايد وحدي شابكين صرخة وانقلاب مخيمات لاجئين من افريقيا لفلسطين ايد وحدي شابكين صرخة وانقلاب مخيمات لاجئين بنقول لبابلون رغم القاهرة احنا هون نرجع عبد الناصر ومانديلا نيلسون والتحية للصوفية تحية للمذية تحية للبيئة من جميع انواع الروحانية تحية للشعب الراستفاريين صرخة وانقلاب مخيمات عودة لاجئين in mind. From Africa to Palestine, the sunlight will shine. Oh, my comrade, big up, live up yourself in mind.
Moses himself is seen by Judaism, Christianity, and Islam as the founding father of monotheism, the belief in the one and only God. For well over a century, explorers have been looking for evidence of Moses and the Exodus. Archaeologists combing the deserts of Egypt had very little to show for their efforts. For example, the Bible says that before entering the Promised Land, all 600,000 Hebrews wandered in the wilderness of the Sinai Desert for 40 years. Such a massive movement of people should have left traces behind. Even small wandering tribes like these Bedouins can't help leaving their mark on the desert. Archaeologists have found that cooking remains in the form of charred bones and pottery can survive for thousands of years. Yet no such evidence has emerged of a mass wandering of peoples. As a result, some experts jump to a startling and controversial conclusion.
If you excavate in Egypt and if you don't find any remains which could be combined with the Israelites, so the conclusion is no Israelites ever dwelt in Egypt. After 150 years of Egyptian archaeology, there are still no remains of the Israelites to be shown.
If the Hebrews were never in Egypt, claim the skeptics, then Moses' birth, the 10 plagues, the parting of the Red Sea, even the 10 Commandments never happened. So where did the stories come from? According to some scholars, they were composed by Jewish scribes for theological reasons and written down very late in the history of Israel, sometime between the 7th and 3rd centuries BC. Skeptics say there are no official records of Hebrew slaves in the Delta. This is true. But in reporting the story, the Bible adds small but telling details peculiar to life in the Delta, which a later scribe making the story up in Jerusalem couldn't have known.
And the Egyptians made their lives bitter with hard service in mortar and brick.
Although farmers in the Delta are no longer in bondage, houses are still built in the traditional way. The Bible says that Pharaoh ordered midwives to kill every newly born Hebrew boy. But one mother hid her baby in a basket of bulrushes in the Nile. The baby was found by Pharaoh's daughter, who adopted him and raised him in the palace. Many experts have dismissed this episode as a folk tale, copied from a very similar story from Babylon, now in modern Iraq. Local myth says that Sargon, a legendary king of Babylon, was also found in a basket in a river. Moses grew up in Pharaoh's court, but, says the Bible, he never forgot his roots. One day, he spied an Egyptian overseer smiting a Hebrew, one of his brethren.
And he looked this way and that, and seeing no one, he killed the Egyptian.
Fearing for his own life, Moses fled into the wilderness. But it was in the desert that, out of the midst of a burning bush, Moses first heard the voice of God.
I have seen the affliction of my people who are in Egypt, and I have come down to deliver them to a land flowing with milk and honey.
The burning bush episode marks a dramatic shift in the story, but many biblical scholars have questioned this episode, reasoning that belief in one true God, or monotheism, is too advanced for the time of Moses. It's more realistic, they've said, to assume that monotheism is the fruit of much later Jewish thinkers at a time when Judaism was an established religion. The religion of ancient Egypt was polytheism, the cult of many gods. But in a flash of inspiration, some said madness, Akhenaten attacked polytheism, desecrating inscriptions and images of the old gods of Egypt. In its place, the heretic king promoted the worship of the sun as the one true God. It was the first ever recorded expression of monotheism. As a homage, Akhenaten built a new capital city with special temples dedicated to the cult of the sun god. And there are yet more parallels between Akhenaten's ideas and the Bible. In one of the tombs that surround the city, there is a hymn to the sun god composed by Akhenaten himself. Sections of the hymn are remarkably like certain verses in the Bible's Psalm 104.
O living sun disk, thou art beautiful, great, glittering. O Lord my God, thou art very great. When thy movements fade, the land is in darkness. Every lion is out of his den. Thou makest darkness, and it is night. The young lions roar after their prey.
No one knows whether Moses was aware of Akhenaten and his ideas. As God's chosen prophet, Moses' first duty was to return to Egypt and ask Pharaoh to free the Hebrews. But Pharaoh repeatedly refused to let them leave. According to the Bible, Moses met every refusal by sending a plague upon Egypt. Because the plagues are represented as supernatural acts, some scholars doubt that they ever really happened. But they could have been natural phenomena, triggered by the yearly flooding of the river Nile.
The types of problems encountered in the book of Exodus do resemble things that do happen in Egypt. The problem of flies, the problem of frogs. The things described seem to fit an Egyptian setting. Now, what is somewhat different here is that you have things that do occur naturally happening all at once and in much greater magnitude.
And Moses stretched forth his hand, and the waters returned and covered the chariots of Pharaoh.
Most biblical scholars dismiss the episode as a myth. The Red Sea is simply too deep for a wind to divide its waters. After the flight from Egypt, the Bible says that the Hebrews journeyed into the Sinai wilderness. In the 3rd month, they camped at the foot of the mountain of God. And on the 3rd day, God summoned Moses to the mountain. And God presented Moses with the 10 Commandments.
You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not kill. You shall not steal. And Moses wrote all the words of the Lord, and rose up early in the morning, and built an altar under the hill, and 12 pillars for the 12 tribes of Israel.
The precise location of the mountain of God has always been a mystery. One suggestion, put forward by early Christian missionaries, is that this is it, Mount Sinai, one of the highest peaks in the southern desert. But not everyone is convinced that this is the mountain of God. None of the features mentioned in the Bible, such as the encampments, the altar, the 12 pillars, have ever been found. After 40 years wandering in the wilderness, Moses led the Hebrews on their final journey out of Egypt. He never reached the promised land. He died within sight of it. The Bible remains the foundation of faith for 2/3 of the world's population. The modern age is also rediscovering it as a tool for understanding history.
Hello and welcome to the Palestinian Corner from Montreal, and this is our 60th episode devoted to the story of Moses. Moses is an important prophet in Judaism, Christianity, Islam, the Baha'i faith, and a number of other Abrahamic religions. موسى بالعبرية موشي هو نبي مسلم وذكر في القرآن أكثر من 500 مرة، وله صورة باسمه وذكر في العديد من الصور. قائد ونبي وواجه فرعون بعصاه وهو يدعوه للإله الواحد، وأقنع نسل يعقوب إسرائيل من أعمال السخرة في مشاريع فرعون في مصر، وهو من أحضر من جبل الله اللي صار فيما بعد جبل موسى الوصايا العشرة، وهي من قمة الآثار المرتبطة به والتي تشكل الأساس التشريعي الأبرز في التراث اليهودي والمسيحي والإسلامي أيضا. هناك قصة عندما نزل من الجبل بلوحة الوصايا لقى أخوه هارون جمع الذهب من النساء المهاجرات، حيث كان جوهرجي قبل هيك، وسيحوا وعمل لهم عجل من الذهب، واشتهر من آل موسى. أخته الكبرى مريم، وهي اللي كانت حسب التوراة تهلل له وغنت ورقصت له وهو يعبر البحر الأحمر. لكن وفي آخر أيامها في سيناء مرضت المرأة وكبرت في السن، كان صعبة شوية، بس أخوها موسى غضب عليها وطرها برا الخيمة ودعت عليه وقالت له أنت نبي أنت نصاب، بس ماتت بعد ما كان يحب المعارضة لموسى. ثم صفورة زوجته الأولى ابنة كاهن مدين البدوي هو اللي جابت له عصاة الشهرة بكل الأحوال اللي كان يرميها وتتحول لثعبان، بس على مشارف أريحة سلم خلافته في قيادة بني إسرائيل إلى يشوع بن نون أو جاشوا، ورجع لقبيلة مرته، وتنسب التوراة إلى موسى عددا وافرا من المعجزات كشق البحر الأحمر والعصا التي تحولت إلى أفعى وضرب مصر بالضربات العشرة. وفات موسى جاءت وهو ابن 120 سنة، لكن يتفق رجال العلم والآثار بيقولوا فتشنا كتير وليس هناك دليل تاريخي مستقل عن الكتب الدينية يدعم إنسان وجود إثبات وجود موسى ولا النبي ولا غيره. لذا فقد نحى بعض المقادة لاعتباره شخصية اخترعها الفكر الديني اليهودي زمن السبي البابلي، نظرا لتشابه قصة انتشال موسى من النهر بنفس قصة، وحتى ما كتب عن قصة انتشال سرجون الأكادي من النهر وهو طفل وليد. وأيضا ديانة التوحيد بإله واحد كان قد نادى بها فرعون مصري قبل موسى أو بالفترة اللي سبقته، اسمه إخناتون، وسعى لتكسير أصنام الآلهة لمن قبله. أنصار هذا الرأي يعتبرون موسى هو مجرد تفسير قصة الشعب اليهودي لا أكثر. شكرا لكم على استماعكم.